LSU hangs on to beat Alabama 4-3 and nab the series win. Tigers go for the sweep Sunday. We're talking about it Locked On LSU. Let's go.
You are Locked On LSU, your daily podcast on the LSU Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Okay, let's get it. It is Locked On LSU, your team every day. I'm your host, Matt Moscona. Thanks so much for making us your first listen. We are free, available wherever you get podcasts, of course, on YouTube as well. So please subscribe. As always, one of the fastest ways to help us grow is by leaving your comments below. So thank you sincerely for that. We appreciate you for being here with us on this Easter weekend. LSU beats Alabama 4-3. Anthony Eyanson with 12 strikeouts after a shaky first inning where he walked two, gave up 2 hits, allowed a run, was able to wiggle off the hook despite that very shaky first where he threw 36 pitches in the first inning. Eyanson, a season-high 115 pitches, got you through 6 innings, just 1 run on 4 hits, struck out 12. The 5 walks were a problem in this game, and that's certainly what shortened his outing. But when he got in trouble, he got out of it, and there were a couple of gigantic moments for Anthony Eyanson. Look, he struck out Justin LeBron in the third, to lead off the third, which was his 5th straight K. And then in the top of the 4th, with the bases loaded, Justin LeBron was up as well. Remember, they had a leadoff walk single. They go sack bunt, by the way, hashtag never bunt. So they got second and third, 1 out. He strikes out the 9-hole hitter, walks the leadoff guy. So now it's bases loaded for LeBron. And this is a 2-1 ball game at this point. And Eyanson gets the strikeout. That was awesome. He would strike out 2 more in the 5th. He would get over 100 pitches, came back out for the 6th, went strikeout, line out. That was absolutely magnificent by Eyanson to give you that length. You hand it to Cowan, and he gets you home. And how about the strikeout from Zach Cowan was fantastic. In the 7th, he did allow the RBI single to make it 4-2. He got through the 8th, went back out for the 9th, and the strikeout of Justin LeBron in the 9th was massive. Leadoff double, wild pitch, runner at third, one of the best hitters in the country at the plate. You're down 3-1 in the count. He comes back with that filthy changeup and gets the strikeout. And then, of course, the sac fly line out to end it. And Tigers win it 4-3. So, listen, we continue to say it's unconventional the way LSU is going about doing it with a shrunken bullpen. But look how good the pitching staff is. It's almost like we keep focusing so much, and understandably, on the lack of depth in the bullpen and guys that you count on. But we're losing sight of the fact that the way they're doing it is incredible. I mean, Ben McDonald said on the broadcast the last 2 nights, this is the best team ERA for LSU since 2015. And 2015 is one of the best teams in LSU history. Nobody remembers it because they didn't do well in Omaha. But that team with Alex Lang as a freshman that season was awesome. That 2015 team was magnificent. And, I mean, it's pretty impressive to see what these Tigers are doing right now on the mound. So they'll go for the sweep on Sunday. They desperately needed this series win. They got it. You'll have to face their number 1 coming back in game 3. Interesting that we saw Chase Shores get up in the bullpen both of the last 2 days. And what's interesting about that, and I'm certain a lot of you are going to comment on this, and we'll get to your comments in a second. But what's interesting is Chase Shores is the named starter for game 3. It doesn't mean you're beholden to that. It's just your plan, and plans can change. But remember, a lot of the conversation from fans has been a lot of people saying, hey, if not Shores on Sunday, it would be Cowan or Evans. Well, brother, I got news for you, man. Evans threw 35 pitches yesterday. Cowan, you burned him tonight. Now, you could bring Evans back in game 3 and maybe give him the start and be sort of an opener. You maybe try to get you 9 outs, maybe. But it's probably a thing where Jay's thinking more Ware, Schmidt, Newt, like who would be the next guy, and just track toward who the midweek guys have been. Anyway, we'll get to that. So all things considered, look, you won the game. You came up with some big pitches in huge spots. A few things that I think we got to mention. man, offensively, oh boy, this is what we were thinking would carry this team. LSU left 12 men on base tonight, and boy, that was really a challenge. I mean, you had a runner in scoring position in the first, couldn't get him home. In the second, you had Pearson single stolen base, so he gets into scoring position. Aaron Beatty strikes out. You can't get him home from in scoring position. In the third, you finally got across with 2 runs. Jones, thank goodness Jones finally broke through there, but he still had a rough day. Jones had the RBI double. In the bottom of the fourth is when you broke through. Curiel had the 2 RBI single. But in the fifth, you load the bases. You pinch hit Ashton Larson for Ethan Fry to get the left-handed bat, and Larson strikes out in a massive spot right there. Couldn't replicate it. Actually struck out twice in this ball game. And I mean, you hate 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. I mean, he was pressing very clearly. And then you go out in the sixth, Stanfield leadoff double, and you go fly out, strikeout. And the 2 strikeouts were Dickinson and Jones, your 2 and 3 hole hitters, when you had a leadoff double that you wasted. In the eighth, you load the bases in the eighth. Jones pops foul, Milam flies out. You had opportunities, man. You had a lot of opportunities to blow this game open offensively, and you just didn't do it. And part of that is a hat tip to the other team's pitching staff. But it's one thing if you're facing great arms. You're not. You expect your hitters to come through in these situations. And unfortunately, the past couple of weeks, it just hasn't happened that way for LSU. So I would love to think that this is just a midseason slump, a lull that happens to every baseball team. Look no further than with Texas A&M, how they started and how it's going right now. The how it started, how it's going meme. My goodness, is that any more appropriate than with what A&M's doing right now? But you look at this ball game, and I will say the thing that has me a little off. Listen, I'm always going to get, and by the way, I don't want this to sound like I'm being overtly negative. Please don't think that. Like, LSU won the series. They desperately needed to win the series. And they've done it, and they're going for a sweep. And I think they're going to have a good chance to do that on Saturday out at the box. It should be a great crowd Saturday night at the box, and Chase Shores will be going. You got probably a fever pitch, a frenzy with LSU having the opportunity to sweep. Love it. They'll have a great opportunity to do that. And you got what you needed. But we're looking at a program right now, a team right now that has national championship aspirations. So you're going to be more critical, not in a negative sense, just in the way of critiquing, to say, okay, what are the things that could potentially keep you from winning a national championship? Well, the inability in all the situations that I just said for you to get to come through with the big hit to get runs at home, even when you had runners in scoring position with less than 2 outs and you couldn't get them in, like, that's a problem that you've got to be able to rectify. So, it's giving Jay Johnson and his staff something to make sure that they work on. But you would rather learn those lessons in a win than a loss. And LSU's got wins the last 2 nights where they were dead in the water in game 1 against Alabama in the bottom of the 6th, rallied with an improbable 3-run homer from Larson. Then Milam followed up in the 7th. And then here tonight, Tigers got up and they just kept coming up with big pitch after big pitch after big pitch. So they've won it in 2 very different ways. We'll see how game 3 goes. And I keep reminding myself of that series LSU played in Frisco, where the Kansas State game went into extra innings. It was down to the wire. Against Nebraska, they got down 5-0, rallied to score 10 unanswered. Sound familiar from yesterday? And then in game 3, they got the big lead against Sam Houston and then had to hold on late. They showed early they could win in a lot of different ways, and they're showing that again here. And all that matters is that you keep stockpiling wins, and they've done that. They're now at 12 conference wins. So it's like, if you just chalk up, look, if that magic number is 20, you got to find 8 more. You got to find 8 more league wins. And you've got a great opportunity to get one of them tomorrow or on Saturday at the box. So Tigers win it 4-3. One more thing that I want to say is, in game number 1, Jay Johnson got a lot of credit for the cat and mouse game he played in the 6th, where they pinch hit Larson, right? And he pulled Braswell. He was going for, no, forgive me, in that spot, it was yeah, because then it was Hernandez later in the inning. But in that situation, make sure I had that right. Was it? I'm sorry. I just want to make sure that I had right who Larson pinch hit for. Larson pinch hit for Hernandez. Okay, Pearson pinch hit for Braswell. Sorry, I thought I had that right. Okay, so Josh Pearson pinch hit. Remember, that was going to be John Pearson. Ultimately, they went to the righty. So then Josh Pearson went in, gets a single. Then they pinch hit Larson for Hernandez. It works. But I could also say that the starting lineup decision that Jay Johnson made didn't work, which necessitated getting lefties in the lineup later. Same thing tonight. And for the life of me, I can't understand what he was doing. He went back to Curiel, Dickinson, Jones, 1, 2, 3, which that's worked all year. Stick with that. But you're facing a righty, and you had Fry in there as the DH, and you had Josh Pearson in right. Braswell was at third as well. Now, Braswell was 1 for 4 in the ball game. He had a double, put the ball in play. I'm fine with Braswell being in there. We've had the conversation a lot about Reeves and his struggles in conference play. But we have got to have this conversation about Fry against righties. Again, in game 1 of the series, he had a walk and a homer against lefties out of the bullpen. Against the righty who started, he struck out twice. Now, he did single as well, but the point is, it's very obvious you have a guy that's closer to 200 now. He was, a month ago, he was hitting 350 in league play. Now he's all the way down close to 200. And it's very obvious when he's platooning and batting against lefties, he's just a much more effective hitter. This is a day where Jake Brown should have been in right. Josh Pearson should have been DHing to get the lefties in the lineup. I don't know why Hernandez didn't play. Aaron Beatty got the start. He was 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. It is so abundantly clear that Cade Aaron Beatty is overmatched offensively at this level. Again, a super high ceiling and a guy that I think is going to be an awesome player. If his defense was otherworldly, but he couldn't hit because that's a premium position, I'd be fine playing him because you got enough offense in the lineup. Like, I'll give up, say it all the time, I'll give up a bat for an elite glove at a premium defensive position. The problem is Aaron Beatty's not an elite glove yet. He will be, but not yet. And brother, he is a liability offensively. 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. He can hit in the midweek. He is just overmatched in the SEC right now. And again, I think that I think that young guy has a potential to be an All-American caliber player. I mean, he's a guy that scouts were salivating over. Slumped his senior year, ends up on campus, which is LSU's great benefit. And again, I think he's going to be awesome. He's just not ready yet to go up against SEC pitching. So maybe Jay will say in his post game, I don't know if something's up with Hernandez, but giving Aaron Beatty the start over Hernandez in a game like this makes no sense whatsoever to me. I'd love to hear the explanation. So in any event, there's my take on the game. LSU wins 4-3. The Tigers win the series. They go for the sweep on Sunday. It'll be Chase Shores on the bump for LSU, and fired up to see Chase Shores. I know there's been a lot of criticism of Chase Shores. I struggle to say criticism, but I know there's been a lot of people who want to see maybe someone else in that spot. And I just look at that and I say, man, I keep looking at Chase Shores. His slider is getting sharper. His velocity is there. He didn't pitch. He didn't pitch for 2 years in a competitive situation against another opponent. He's going to keep getting better and better. I'll keep giving you the Ty Floyd comp, and I think Shores is going to be great by the end of the season. You just got to keep plugging away and get there. Okay. Thank you for being with us. Let me knock out my very quick break. Over 600 of you watching live on a Friday night at 9:28 p.m. I love you. Thank you so much for being live with us. And if you're on demand, remember, we are live on the Locked On LSU YouTube channel as soon as the games go final. So be sure to join us there. Okay, my very quick break. We're coming back. I'm getting to your comments, so fire away. It's Locked On LSU, your team every day. Did you know your Fire TV is also an Xbox? Turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices. No console required. Just grab your paired controller, subscribe, or sign into Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you're ready to play. Dive into hundreds of premium titles from EA Sports College Football 25 to Call of Duty Black Ops 6 and Avowed as easily as you stream your favorite shows. It's gaming made simple, and it's all on your Fire TV. And with 4K streaming, you can watch more than 1.5 million movies and TV episodes from your favorite subscribed services like Netflix, Prime Video, Disney Plus, Max, and more. Head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller required. Available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K 2nd Gen, Fire TV Stick 4K Max 1st and 2nd Gen, and Fire TV Cube 3rd Gen. Today's episode is also brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are here, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action. Right now, when you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you'll get $250 in bonus bets if your bet wins. I love how FanDuel makes betting easy, whether it's picking my favorite team or diving into player props, from three-pointers to steals to assists. FanDuel has so many ways to bet on your favorite player props. Plus, after the game tips off, you can even combine live prop bets into a same-game parlay for a chance to win big. So don't miss out. Head to FanDuel.com and claim your $250 in bonus bets today. All right, LSU beats Alabama 4-3. Tigers win the series. They'll go for the series sweep on Sunday out at Alex Box Stadium. Let's get to you. Please fire away with your questions and comments if you're with us live, and we appreciate it so much. Colin said, first thought I have tonight is about Fry. He's shown me enough that he can't hit right-handed SEC pitching. Pearson proved again tonight he hits left or right as a higher average versus lefties. We did talk about that a little bit already, and I completely agree. I think that absolutely Ethan Fry has a role. I'm not saying banish him to the bench. I'm just saying as the sample size grows, there are some things that are just very obvious. And with Ethan Fry, one of those things right now is that he is a much better hitter against lefties here in conference play than he is against righties. In conference play right now, Ethan Fry is coming into tonight is at 250. After this ball game, he was 0 for 1. And of course, they pinch hit Ashton Larson for him. And he was 0 for 1 with a strikeout. He did walk. And by the way, the walk, oh my goodness. The walk was in the third. The walk was in the third after Jones had the RBI double. Then LSU went fly out. Fry walked, but he had two close takes. And if I'm being completely honest with you, I think both takes were strikes. Anyway, yes, I agree with you. I would love to see them go back to the platoon. Brown is your everyday left fielder. Pearson is the DH against righties. Fry is the DH against lefties. That's what I would love to see him do. Jay doesn't ask my opinion. He's not going to. He'll continue to do whatever he wants. But that it's becoming more obvious where your advantages and liabilities are. Rhett said, thank goodness for Cowan. He was awesome, man. Great pitching. Not a fan of leaving the bases loaded twice. All good. Got the series win. No doubt. It comes back to the thing where we have to talk about the objective. So, yes, you got the win. That is paramount. You got the series win. You're going for a sweep. You've got to be able to manage situations where you can get runs home. And sometimes it's very obvious things like get a ball on the ground to the right side to get a runner home from third instead of grounding to third, or grounding to the left side to hold the runner at third. That's kind of one of those things where you've got to be able to get that runner home. Landon, Matt, did you catch the LSU Alabama game on National Geographic tonight? The announcers' conversations are wild. I love Tom Hart and Ben McDonald. I think they're awesome. I think Tom Hart is one of the best play-by-play men in the world. And I love how he makes broadcast fun. So you're not going to hear me say one negative thing about Tom Hart. I think he's awesome. Charleston Maestro, great to get the series. Struggling hit with runners in scoring position. Sorry, my son's in here. Apologies for that. Monty, crazy how much better Ant gets through the game. That's true. Eyanson needed 36 pitches to get through the first inning, and after that was pretty awesome. He settled in the second. He struck out the side, and I think, if I don't have it written down, but I think he did it on 11 pitches. So he needed a very easy inning, and he got a very easy inning. And then in the third, he went strikeout, ground out, walk, and then the fielder's choice. So he had back-to-back easy innings, which allowed him to pace a little better. So the Mayo, thank you so much. And shame on me that we're 20 minutes into the show and I haven't mentioned it. Chris Stanfield, for everybody who came here earlier in the season and was talking about Chris Stanfield needed to go to the bench. Stanfield 4 for 4 with a double, 2 runs scored tonight. He's hitting .350 coming into this game. Stanfield's SEC average is .358, and that'll go up after a 4 for 4 night. So, I mean, not only has he been awesome at the plate, he's great in center field as well. He made a running catch today on a looping ball in shallow right center where he lost his hat. He covers a ton of ground, and he is awesome, and I am so glad Chris Stanfield is on this team. Thomas Spencer, awesome to get the series win, have a chance at a sweep. Will Dart, I love this. Eyanson ages like a fine wine throughout the game. The only thing, yes, shout out to the best 9-hole hitter in the country. The only thing that I would love to see with Eyanson, man, is like the inefficiency early is what drives up the pitch count and doesn't allow him to extend deep into a game. I know it's a lot. It reminds me so much. That used to happen to Alex Lang a lot, and it's not that Lang was inefficient. Lang was a max effort pitcher. It's why many always projected him as a bullpen guy, as a back of the bullpen guy in the pros. He was a max effort guy, and as a result, induced a lot of foul balls, and the foul balls drove up his pitch count. And I think you're seeing a lot of that with Eyanson. Not to say he's a max effort guy, but because it drives up the pitch count, it's much harder for him to extend deeper into the game. Thanks for being here, y'all. David talking about the LSU defense, very solid. By the way, especially in contrast to Alabama, which had Alabama had 2 errors on the. Oh, they must have gone back and changed the Dickinson. I hope they did. Give me 1 second, y'all. Dickinson had the RBI. It was in the third when Stanfield reached on an error. They threw the ball wild, so he got the second. He tagged on a fielder on a fly out. So you had a runner at third with 1 out. Dickinson's up, and Dickinson smashes one to third base. And initially, they ruled it an error on the third baseman. Okay, they changed it. Thank God they changed this ruling. I would assume Brian Lazar is the official scorer still. I don't know who's there in the box, but there have been some super questionable calls. Like last night, the ball that got over the wall when they ruled that a single and a 2-base error, that should have been a double 2-base error and the runner should have scored. And then Dickinson in the third, if you remember the play I'm talking about, it was how LSU got on the board. He smashed the ball at third base. It got through the third baseman. Initially, that was ruled an error, but thankfully they've corrected it, gave him a single and an RBI. Thank goodness that got corrected because it needed to. He smashed that ball. Okay. I appreciate everybody for being here, man. Y'all, please drop your questions in. Tigers win 4-3. Appreciate everybody for being here. Yes, leaving the bases loaded is a problem, something we've talked about. Let me see if I can get to a few questions in here. Manny said Jones is officially a head case. This has to be mental with Jones now. I don't love the way you phrase that, Manny, to say that he's a head case. We could be more respectful, man, of these young guys that are out there playing. He was 1 for 5 tonight, and he struck out twice. But the one was an RBI double in a massive spot. I don't love the strikeouts for Jones. One of the things that was so impressive before the last 2 weeks was he had cut the strikeout numbers down so significantly and was hitting to all fields. It feels a lot like he's pressing at this point. Like he knows he's in a rut, and so he's pressing. Jared Jones can hit. He can hit at this level. He can hit the all fields for average or power. Like, that's not a problem. I think he's just going through a pretty awful slump right now. And didn't we say last weekend he was 1 for 13 with 6 strikeouts in the Auburn series? Like, when you have, let me do the math real quick. Let's see, he was 1 for 13 with 6 Ks. Today he was, if you forgive me, give me one quick second. Today Jones was 1 for 5 with 2 Ks. And then yesterday, Jones was, forgive me, I'm doing this on the fly, but I want to get this right. So give me 1 second. I'll tell you exactly what he's been. Let's see. No, not that one. Sorry. Jones in game 1 was, Jones was 0 for 3 with 2 Ks. 0 for 3 with 2 Ks. So far in the Bama and Auburn series, Jared Jones is 2 for 13, 18, 2 for 21 with 10 Ks through 5 games. I mean, 2 for 21 with 10 Ks through 5 games is, it's way too much. It's not good, but it's 5 games. And we saw Jared Jones go hit in the midweek and he blasted the baseball and he had a double in this ball game. So hopefully that's a sign of him coming through it. Like, we know he can hit. It's not a question of can Jared Jones hit at this level. It's not like you had a guy who it's not like Daniel Dickinson, who was transferring in from Utah Valley where he was incredible, but you're like, will it translate to this level? Clearly it has. We've seen Jared Jones hit 28 bombs in the SEC. Like, we know he can hit SEC pitching. He's just got to come along here and get out of this rut, this sort of funk that he's in right now. All right. Yeah. Sonny Nola said, Dylan Cruz is 8 for 57. Baseball is hard. Sambo, 2 for 21, 5th-year senior. He's not a 5th-year senior. Jared Jones is a junior. He's in his 3rd year. What are you talking about? He was a freshman on the national championship team in 23. This is his 3rd season at LSU. He's not a 5th-year senior. So come on, let's get right. Okay, any more that I want to get to? I want to talk about this real quick. Alex said the Fry hate every week is mind-blowing. Guy was a freshman on the best team ever at LSU, was hurt last year. Righties are his weakness. Can't ignore that kind of batting average halfway through the season. Okay, Alex, I don't know if you're referring to the comments I made or if there's other comments. There's 560 people watching. I know there's a lot of comments. I want to be very clear. So there is no misgivings here. Ethan Fry deserves a ton of respect for sticking around. And he has shown the ability to be a productive hitter on this team. That is true and deserves to play. Okay? Like, this goes back to the two things can be true at the same time. And if you didn't have Josh Pearson on this team, then Ethan Fry being your everyday DH is fine with me. But Josh Pearson is a senior who's had great moments and is another left-handed bat in the lineup that's had big moments for you in this year and throughout his entire career. So I look at it as a pretty easy proposition here. Like, we can look at what Ethan Fry has done in the SEC as opposed to what he's done in non-conference games. And we're at a point where his batting average has plummeted over 100 points since conference play started, when he was hitting, over 350. Yesterday, he was down to 225 and then had a couple of knocks. He got up to 250, and then today was 0 for 1. So he'll probably be back in the 240-ish range. But the point is, he very much has a role. He just needs to be the DH when they're facing a lefty. You saw it last night. He struck out twice against the lefty. He did get a single, but against the righty. They brought in a lefty. He walks and homers. Tonight, in this ball game, he struck out against a righty, and then he walked against a righty where he got 2 gift calls where he should have been punched out twice. Like, to me, this is pretty easy. And it's not to say he doesn't have a role. Like, I'm not hating on Ethan Fry. I'm making an observation so as to say, how do you establish roles for all of these players? And he has a role. Absolutely, he has a role. And but I think it should be. It's just my opinion. Like, we're having a conversation. Jay's not going to call me and say, "Hey, who should we DH?" Like, he's going to do what he wants to do, and he's got a lot of faith and confidence in Ethan Fry, and he said that a bunch. I think as we continue to see the sample size grow, he's struggling against righties. So DH him against lefties and let Josh Pearson DH against righties and play Jake Brown every day in right field. That's my opinion. Like, something else that's developed. A lot of, as Tanner Reeves was hitting well, man, boy, y'all were wanting Tanner Reeves to be the everyday third baseman. He kicks a few balls. He struggles in conference play. Braswell continues to hit over 300 in conference play. Now everybody loves Braswell. My point all along has been Braswell hit 310 in the league last year. I know Braswell can hit SEC pitching, and he's a better defender than Reeves. Reeves has a higher ceiling. Braswell is a better player today. I'm good with Braswell being an everyday guy. You want to give Reeves an opportunity in the midweek like you do with Aaron Beatty behind the dish? Perfect. You want to get Reeves a pinch hit opportunity or a late game replacement in one-sided games in the SEC? Awesome. Do it. But that's just how you establish roles as the sample size grows. So you said, like, what his batting average is as the sample size grows. Well, what about his batting average in conference play? 2 weeks into conference play, he was hitting 350. His batting average dropped 100 points in the last 3 weeks. So, like, there's the same thing is true. All right. Robert said comments on the officials. I think they're all terrible. I mean, I've said this forever. Every official in every sport is bad at their job because it's impossible to be good. And especially when you have HD and slow-mo and K-zone, not on college, but I have all this. We're all looking at it in a different angle. I also think that home plate umpires in college have a wider zone than you'll see in Major League Baseball. So you're going to see borderline pitches called. Justin LeBron got punched out on one yesterday. Jake Brown got punched out on a borderline call yesterday. So I think by and large, they're all bad at their job. They're not full-time. These are people that have jobs that officiate and call and umpire SEC baseball games on weekends. I mean, it's what you get what you pay for. You get what you pay for. So let's see. One more. Pete said Saturday Shore Schmidt Rizzi game. I think as we look at it, as I look at how game 3 shapes up, yes, you have Shores, but you've also got Ware, you've got Schmidt, you've got Newt, you've got Rizzi, you've got Cooper Williams if you want a lefty, you've got DJ Primo if you need another lefty. And that's not even to count Kason Evans, who threw 35 pitches on Thursday and could certainly come back and give you something in game 3 if you needed him. So, yes, you have plenty of arms to get through and to play matchups throughout. You just got to find someone who can give you some length. Gulf South, I think Pearson's a liability and right. Larson and Brown are much better defenders. Yeah, Gulf South, that's not even an opinion. Like, that's a fact. Like, the liability part, only that he's not as good a defender as Brown. Like, Jake Brown, I would talk about Jake Brown so much, but like, Jake Brown is a 5-tool guy that can be a big leaguer. Like, he can hit for average. He can hit for power. He's got great speed. He's got a great glove. He's got a great arm. Like, he's a 5-tool guy. I mean, he's a big leaguer, right? He gets to more balls in right than Pearson would. He's a better defender. Brown made an amazing catch, by the way, on the line near foul territory in game 1 in this series, late game. It was actually it was in the 9th inning. He made a great running catch in right in the 9th. It was the fly out. It was the first out of the 9th to right. I mean, it was, yes, but y'all know how I feel about that by now. Triple D, Brown should stay in the lineup and wear number 8 next season. Well, remember, Dorsey does not get, I mean, first of all, Brown number 8. Remember, Gavin Guidry's wearing 8 and he's injured. So I assume he'll be back next year wearing 8 next year. As for Dorsey, Jay Johnson's spoken about Chandler Dorsey, and that's kind of a bummer because that's one of those guys who was South Florida's closer last year. And unfortunately, it just hasn't really manifested. And Jay talked about it. He said, he just really struggled in all of their intra-squad work. And so they've tried to get him a few innings here and there, but it's pretty clear at this point, man, you're past tax day. If you haven't found any kind of role, I don't think you have a role here. Brad said if Stanfield continues his hot streak, you keep him where he is or move him up in the line. You leave him exactly where he is. Because being the leadoff hitter, like whether you bat 1 or 9, it only matters in the first inning or the first time through the lineup. Because for the rest of the game, you're going Stanfield, Curiel back to back. And so you have your table setters for your run producers. So Stanfield, Curiel, Jones, Dickinson, right? Which I think is how it should be. Now, by the way, tonight they flipped him and Jones batted third ahead of Dickinson. Like, the perplexing thing about the lineup change for me is that LSU had a thing that was working for so long this year. Curiel, Jones, Dickinson. Jones hits a little bit of a slump, and now it's thrown the whole thing into a bit of a tizzy. And I think Jay overreacted, quite honestly, to the success you had on a Tuesday night against McNeese. It worked. When you're in the 2-hole, you're going to see more fastballs. I think that's where Jared Jones needs to be. I think you need to go Curiel, Jones, Dickinson, and based on who you play after that, you're going to figure it out. But in the 8-9 hole, you know you're going to have Braswell, Stanfield, as it should be. But it's great to be able to turn the lineup over, going Braswell, who hits 300, Stanfield, who's your best hitter in conference play, turning it over for Curiel, who gets on base every game, for your run producers like Jones and Dickinson. So I like it. All right, y'all. I think we're just about done here. Thanks so much for hanging out, man. LSU wins 4-3. What an awesome weekend for the Tigers to win a couple of games in dramatically different ways. Your pitching held up tonight. What a great night for Eyanson and Zach Cowan to get you home to preserve all the rest of the arms for Game 3 on Saturday. The offense, man, you left 11, or was it 12? You left 12 on base. Now Bama left 10. Bama left 10 on base, but you played clean defense, no errors, and you came up with some massive pitches when you needed it. So the 2 in the third, the 2 in the fourth held up for the Tigers because your pitching was great. See if the Tigers can go sweep the series with a big win on Saturday. All right, that's going to do it for us here. Thanks for making us your first listen every single day. Hey, now for your second listen, how about you go check out Locked On NFL Draft. It's free, available wherever you get podcasts or on YouTube. Hey, if you are listening or watching on demand, thank you so much for being there with us. And by the way, I just realized I didn't change this. I'm so sorry. So if you're listening, this doesn't matter. If you're watching, I didn't change the On Today's Show tab. So my bad on that. This is the most recent episode of Locked On LSU where I did a full episode on Caleb Jackson. So if you missed that, please go check that out because I think you're really going to enjoy hearing from Caleb Jackson about why he struggled a year ago and his personal expectations in 2025. So go check out that episode. Hey, listen, if you're on podcast, please subscribe on your favorite podcast app, rate us, leave a review. If you're on YouTube, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you're notified whenever we post a new video, and let a friend know that if they love the Tigers, we got you here every single day for Locked On LSU, your team every day.